Late summer in Finale sees the convergence of some new tech, and most notably, I spot the new motor from Italian brand Polini. I managed to get his quick spin amongst the rocks above the Mediterranean, and later in this video, we travel north to see exactly how an eMTB motor is made. I think it's fair to say that Finale Ligure has become the mountain bike destination of Europe, if not worldwide. We're here at the EWS E-Series, and the streets are simply packed with mountain bikers. I think it's only fitting that sooner or later there would be a brand from this famous Mediterranean town, and it comes in the shape of the Exept brand. This is the Exept Finale. It's got 180mm travel front, 170 rear, 3 sizes. And at the heart of this bike is the Polini motor. Now, I've been desperate to get my hands on an e-mountain bike with a Polini motor for years. So hopefully I'll be able to get out on the trails and ride this pretty soon. So what have we got then? Well, we've got a full carbon frame. It comes in 3 sizes, 29-inch wheel at front, 27.5 on the rear. But the really cool thing about this bike is that it's designed, tested and assembled here in Finale. It is actually the first bike to be produced in this town, and I think it's a really cool thing to have a bike from what is possibly the spiritual home of Enduro, and it's very much an Enduro bike. In some of the angles on this bike, we've got a 63 head angle on there, 450mm chainstay, and the bikes come in. This is the medium of the models. This bike comes in about 7,000 euros, but they start at 6,300 euros, and the weight is 22 kilos, but that's actually with the slightly heavier Pirelli tyres on it. This has got the Vittoria tyre on there, but I think you have to agree it's a very, very nice looking bike. Now, when it comes to the controls on the bike, we've got a very low profile remote control here on the left hand side, matched with a display and a screaming child. But to carry on, we've got 5 different modes on this bike. We should actually preset in an app which Polini have developed. So basically you can actually customize or personalize this bike whichever way you want. Now, what about the motor and battery then, folks? Well, this particular bike has got a 500 watt-hour battery, and I have to say it is very, very well integrated into that down tube there, where the switch on button is up the top there. But they've actually got an 880 watt-hour battery coming out later this year. What do we know about the Polini? Well, we know it's got 19 Nm of torque, but I think maybe the only way to truly find out is to give it a spin on the trails. I've just taken a break from the crowds of the EWS at Finale to take a spin on this bike made in Finale, the Exept. And as much as I'm looking at things such as the geometry and the sizing and the silence of the frame, more than anything, I'm super keen to get involved in this Polini MX motor. And I have to say, my first impressions are very, very positive. I mean, it's got a really good support in a wide cadence range, and it's pretty quiet. And I just love the data you can get on this display here. So as you can see, it's got my rider watts, it's got the motor rider watts, it's got your cadence. So I'm running at about 107 in a minute, so I can probably drop that down to a mode. If I drop the mode down into like a medium mode, and I'm running at about 70 RPM. Still good support here on this very, very rough limestone track. I was in a lot of pain here a few days ago, but that guy's probably thinking, why is that guy talking to himself on the bike? But so yeah, 5 levels of support. I'm now at number 3. The controller on the left hand side, easy to access. I'm now going to put it into 4. Bike takes off. Oh my God! I really find it very surprising that more brands have not got involved in this Polini motor company, which has got such a huge heritage in 2 wheels. Wow. The motor's making light work of this pretty tricky limestone path. Oh boy. It's harder to deal with the heat out here at the minute, 30 degrees. You simply wouldn't be riding up this track on a non-e-mountain bike. So there it is, folks, the Exept in its natural territory here on the shores of the Mediterranean. And my first impressions of this bike and this motor are very, very positive. I think the fact that it's a lightweight motor, it's compact, it's got good torque levels to it, it's got a wide cadence range, it's got 5 levels of support, and the way it works in super rocky tech terrain is very impressive, I have to say. But for me, more than anything, when it comes to this bike and this motor, is the fact that it is fully serviceable. You can get all the spare parts for that motor off the shelf. Yeah, should it go wrong? I'm not suggesting this motor will go wrong, because Polini has such a strong heritage in two wheels. So, yeah, I think that's probably peace of mind for a lot of people when they're deciding to buy their e-mountain bike. And I find it also very surprising that not more brands are using this Italian-made motor, because it's a beauty. Now, another part which I should mention, and that is the whole de-restricting, because if you live in a certain country in the world, or if you have access to private land, you might want to do that. Although bear in mind it will use more battery, is the fact that if you do choose to de-restrict your bike, then your warranty is not voided on the motor, which might be of importance to some people. But folks, fantastic to see a bike coming from, you know, one of the mountain bike sort of hotspots of the world, and for a small team to do such a great job in a short space of time. So thanks Exept for giving me a chance to spin this bike in the hills here in Finale. Having exhausted myself and all that Finale had to offer, we head north to Bergamo to see Polini to find out just what makes their motor so special. Well, we're in the foothills of the mountains at Bergamo in northern Italy, and we're at the headquarters of Polini. And today we're going to have a look at the complete manufacture of an e-bike motor system. And I have to say, I am massively excited about this tour. Now, many people associate Polini with scooter accessory manufacture. However, it didn't actually start there. It started in the village of Alanzo, and a man running by the name of Battista Polini, who actually came back from the front line to repair bicycles and also make some aftermarket parts. But after that, obviously, it moved into the scooter world. Now, the modern day Polini actually began by 3 brothers, Franco, Carlo and Piero. Now, Piero was actually mad about racing bikes. And his other 2 brothers, Franco and Carlo, used to go to the races to help him get the most out of his bike. So from that, the development of parts and performance improving parts for the bike was started. By the 1990s, Polini parts were already on the likes of the bikes of Valentino Rossi in MotoGP. In 1997 saw the introduction of the Minicross series, but for me, the most important date is around 2016 when they start production of the EP3 motor. I'm sure many of you are asking, where can you get a bike with an EP3 MX Plus motor? Well, recently we had a visit to Finale, and the brand Exept have 160mm travel bike there with that motor, and it's worth checking out, I can guarantee you that. Wow, the history in this place is absolutely breathtaking. We've got all the sort of enduro and motocross sort of history. I mean, look at that beautiful shot there in the woods. I think kind of you've somehow got the same vibe today when we ride e-mountain bikes. Working our way down here, we've got, there's Piero. There's Piero racing his Ancelotti, again another Italian company, 6 days. Oh, look at this, there's a shot of Valentino Rossi there with the Polini muffler on the back. Wow, it's insane. Wow, oh, here we go. HRC, a genuine HRC bike. This is the 125 of World Champion 1990, Loris Capirossi. And over here, what have we got? Right, I recognize this. Now, this here is actually a Honda HRC frame, but all the parts on this are Polini. Wow, that is so prototype. I love it. Well, I feel really fortunate. They've let me into the testing and prototyping part of the business. It's super clean in here. We've got some crazy looking thing going on here. Now, I know that this bike here is actually a bike which was once 3 horsepower, but with Polini parts has been made 36 horsepower. These guys know how to get the most out of two wheels. If you have a look at this thing here, if you remember Rob Warner going around the streets of Henley on one of these, and also Polini make motors for microlights. I can hear some noises at the back there. Now, obviously, Polini has a rolling road, and on the jig here today, I do believe we have a 100cc bike, which is 140 kilometers an hour plus. It looks incredibly trick. There's carbon parts in it. There's all kinds of bits cut away from it. And that rear tyre definitely looks like it's been through the ringer. Now, moving next door. Now, next door is where they try to get the maximum horsepower out of their motors on the jig here. I can't imagine the racket that goes on in here when they test these motors. And also, they prototype the exhausts on the bikes. As you can see, there are dozens of prototypes in this room alone. But guys, I guess your question now is, what about the e-bikes? And that's where we're going next. Now, it's important to understand that every single part of the EP3 MX Plus motor is made here in Bergamo, Italy. And I'm looking at Marco behind me is working the CNC machine. So when the parts have gone out of there, they're going to be in to measure them to make sure they're exactly as they should be. And then here we have some unfinished parts. As you can see, there's no milling on the edge here. And then we've got a part here. Let's have a look where we are. Now there's a finished product. As you can see, the Polini logo there on the outside. And it's really important to understand that every single piece of this motor has been measured to see that it is really, really precise. I have waited years to witness this. We're now at the production line of Polini, and obviously things are going to be remote control. Yeah, this is where the gasket sealer has been put onto the electric motor. Here's the motor casings. I mean, it is honestly, it's like putting, how is it when you put this thing on cakes? Exactly the same. Move down the production line here. We've got the motor, which has been installed into the motor casings. And finally, Milena here is putting the torque sensor into the motor, torquing it up, obviously, and also including the main board into the motor itself. And then finally, this is the final part of the production here. And once it's done, sorry, could I just grab that? We've got, each motor has got its own code to it, so we know exactly where and when it was made by. I mean, it's amazing. It's so clean in here. It's mental. But it makes me so happy to come and see just how an e-bike motor is put together. Very, very cool. And here is the final version of the EP3 MX Plus. This is the latest motor from Polini, 19 Newton meters of torque, weighs in at 2.9 kilos, and the overall dimensions of it are very, very low profile. Wow, even this short whistle-stop tour of Polini, what's really grabbed my attention is the fact there must be some incredibly clever people working in this building. I've just come across two other things which I didn't know about. First of all is the fact that they make the cradle for the motor and also the down tube holder for the battery. And remember, they also make the batteries too. But that remains to be two final parts of the puzzle, which are just around the corner here. And those final parts are the fact that, unsurprisingly, not only do they make the display holder and the remote control, but also the display itself. But that display is a whole new story again. I'm now joined by the boss man of Polini, Simon Polini. Sorry?
I'm not only the boss. We have a family, so we work here a lot of cousin, sister, uncle, dad.
Sorry, I got that very wrong. Anyhow, it began with Battista back in the 1940s when he came back from the front line. It's been an interesting evolution of the family, hasn't it? From bicycles to scooter accessories and now to e-mountain biking.
See, our big business is the special part for scooter and maxi scooter, Vespa, all this. And in the long of our way, we studied the mini bike, the paramotor, a lot of things. And 5 years ago, we started this new adventure because the world continued to advance. And we developed this motor for a bike.
It strikes me when I've been walking around here, you've got some very incredibly talented and skillful people working here in this building, don't you?
See, all the people that work in Polini work with the passion because you see our company is little, but it's really made in Italy. So it's important to have a passion and work with the hand too.
So I guess what you're saying is, like, I've watched everybody. There's a lot of attention and love goes into each little part of the motor, isn't there?
See, you know, our name is Polini, is to produce special part. So when the people want to buy our products, want to have more performance, more quality, the expect for the people is really high. So when produce this engine, the people want first the performance. And I think that this engine is really racing, but with our software and our firmware, you can fix very well in every bicycle, and you can find your best pedal, your best
cadence.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Simon, the quality has been quite striking here in this facility. But now I think it's time to maybe have a look. It's not just about the parts themselves, but also the software and how important that is when it comes to an e-mountain bike. Simon, thanks so much for letting us into this amazing place.
Thank you for your visit, and I want to tell the people, try the engine. I don't want only speak. Try the engine, and is the best publicity that we can do.
So there you go, some very interesting tech from Italy. And it was great to see a brand emerging from the epicenter of eMTB, and also with motor brand Polini, where the family spirit really comes through. But that's just part one, folks. There's lots more to come.